Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Black with only one Fungus was shockingly fast for such a weak Pokemon. Let's follow that up with one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon X with a team of only one Sandile? Man, if you watch the other two Sandile runs I did, then you already know this is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. Sandile is this awesome dark and ground type with high attack and speed, and a little bit of health, but not much of anything else. It can have Intimidate as an ability, but the really cool one is Moxie, where it gains an attack boost every time that we make a Pokemon faint. By level up, we learn a lot of great moves. Bite, Mud Slap, Dig, and Earthquake are all things that are going to have some use. Maybe Crunch too, although I could argue that the flinches from Bite are probably going to be more important. Still, between the Dark and Ground moves, Hawlucha is the only Pokemon that I can think of off the top of my head where we're going to have some serious trouble. By TMs, we can't really get a whole lot that I'm interested in. Maybe something like Rock Slide or Stone Edge could be good for specific fights. I could even see Hone Claws having niche use if we find a fight where we don't take much damage early on, but we really need more attack later. I think for the most part though, we're going to be using our level up moves. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so if this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm pretty sure that I can make it far, although that random double battle with the fighting types in Victory Road might require we hit level 100, and the Hawlucha near the end of the game could easily brick wall us. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Sandile. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Froakie with Sandile so that we can do the whole run with it. I name them Street Sharks, like in my blind Let's Play of Pokemon X that I did with my friends back in the day. You should check that out sometime. I'll have a link to it in the description. It was my first time playing Gen 6, and we had a great time. Anyway, check this out. I thought that we were going to be re-rolling Sandiles for at least an hour, since I need the attack up nature without a speed down, and also Moxie as an ability, but only the third one, and we get this one. I would have rather had my special attack down rather than special defense, but I can roll with this. I kind of like not having the most perfect Pokemon anyway. That way, even if my Sandile can't make it to the end of the game, yours might, if you give it a try. Plus, it keeps things interesting for one of the straight-up better Pokemon Challenge people plays the game. Of the Pokemon Challenge guys who have been doing this as long as I have to be the one that's worst at the game, right? Alright, early travel, and of course it's easy since we hit so hard. I'm confident that the first chunk of the game is going to be pretty easy until we get to the Rock Gym. Then, I don't know. They don't resist our moves, but you know how that Gen 6 Rock Gym tends to be. Maybe we'll have some good ground moves by then and we could win with that, who knows? I figured that either the Rock Gym or the Fighting Gym, I wrote Ground Gym, there isn't one of those, is gonna be the first real threat. So let's just go breeze through the Bug Gym and Sycamore. Naturally, the Bug Gym was basically just a super quick sweep after clearing out all the trainers in the area. Probably the easiest time we've ever had with the Bug Gym in this game, and that's including the time I played through X with Regigigas. After that was Sycamore, and him starting with Bulbasaur did mean we took a big chunk of damage so far, but obviously we couldn't lose. Moxie makes it really easy to sweep weak Pokemon like this. Hey, time for another Gen 1 starter. What's your favorite Gen 1 starter? Hoppip, Clink, or Pidove? I like the design of Hoppip a lot, but I think Clink is probably my favorite Gen 1 starter. Gear Grind and Shift Gears are just fun moves. There's a reason I've used it in some challenges already. Let me know what your favorite Gen 1 starter is in the comments. And on our way there, I took the Helix Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Alright, this was pretty funny. First try at the Rock Gym, and despite being a lower level than them, we got a bunch of flinches on them in a row, so we didn't take any damage at the start of the fight. Tyrant was able to take us out by using Rock Tomb to get rid of our speed advantage and then Stomp to overpower us, but a win at a lower level would have been pretty funny. I'll go get a few levels and then come back. I mean, worst case, we can get to level 31 to learn Dig, then I'm sure it would be an easy win. Yeah, that's what I thought. The moment we hit level 31, we just swept the team with no issue. Well, the early game hasn't been too bad. I had to have a short grind, but that's not a big deal. I do think that things are going to get pretty difficult soon, though. The rival fight will probably be easy, but then it's the fighting gym, the rival again, and the grass gym. We're pretty weak to both fighting and grass types, so I'm not really sure what our strategy is going to be. Hawlucha has me pretty worried since it resists dark and straight up can't get hit by ground moves, so I might want to learn return for that fight. The Pokemon champion has Hawlucha too, doesn't she? That's going to be pretty brutal, but I guess I'll worry about that when I get there. As for the grass gym, I figure we're just gonna spam bite and hope we get flinches early on. I'm sure that Moxie will power us up enough to just get the sweep after that. And hey, while we walk, now's a great time to tell you about this video's sponsor, Factor Meals. Well, for the uninitiated, Factor Meals is a service where you can get awesome meals delivered right to your door. These are fresh, never frozen, chef-prepared meals that were made fresh that week. You can pick from several meal plans to cater to your personal tastes and needs. Chef's choice, vegan, keto, protein plus, and calorie smart. I always go with protein plus personally. It's really filling and makes it really easy to hit my protein goals. Plus, they recently doubled their menu size and added all kinds of new seafood and protein options. What you get in the box is 6 to 18 chef-prepared packaged meals that have never been frozen. How many you get is up to you when you sign up. Preparing your meal is about as fast as it can be. Each package has both microwave and oven instructions on it, with it taking about 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave and 10 to 15 in the oven. Recently, they've really been expanding the protein options. I was talking about that earlier. Just in this most recent shipment alone, we got ground beef, steak, chicken, salmon, and tilapia. The food variety's only been going up, and it blows my mind how well everything heats up. The chicken was tender, the cheese and the potato was delicious, and I never really knew that I would enjoy eating roasted mushroom as a side, but it was really good. And there was a sauce on the side that was great for keeping the meal from feeling too heavy, what with all the cheese and potato and whatnot. My girlfriend went with this cheesy taco bowl and loved the sheer quantity of veggies. Not just the broccoli, but also the cabbage underneath the ground beef was great. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code MDBFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code MDBFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Thanks to Factor Meals for sponsoring this video. Go and show them some love at the link at the top of the video description. Now we got a rival to go fight. Alright, first is our rival, and although we can take out Meowstic fast, we take a lot of damage and always just go down to Needlearm from Quilladin right after. That's alright though. I bet we could just bite instead and probably have him flinch after a few tries. Well, never mind. Next try and Quilladin just doesn't use Needlearm for no particular reason. I remember reading a comment once saying that Gen 6 has a lot of trainers that just pick random moves, but I'm not exactly sure what they meant by that. Like, I figure it's not Gen 1 style where it's literally just a 25% chance of using each move on the bad AI trainers. I probably would have noticed if the AI was that random. There has to be at least some thought out rules, like how Meowstic always uses Fake Out first. Still, it does often feel like in Gen 6 they have a winning strategy, but will use terrible moves anyway. Well, I got to the fighting gym at level 43 after having some troubles with the gym trainers. Mindfu went down easily thanks to Earthquake, but Hawlucha just outspeeds us and one-shots us with a flying body press. That's pretty much what I thought would happen. I guess we need to slowly level up and keep trying until we either don't get one-shot or we're faster. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen first, but I'm leaning towards surviving a hit. Hawlucha is pretty fast after all. Well, at level 45 I try again, and this time we don't get hit by Fake Out at the start, so we actually survive the first flying press. But obviously we still can't win this fight yet. I'm probably gonna have to wait until we're faster before we can win this one, but I'm at least confident that being faster will get us the win. Oh, never mind. A level later and I remember that I have the TM for return. I learned that, survived Flying Press with 5 health, and then swept his team. Man, I'm happy that I remembered you get the TM for that early in this game. That means we can go do the next few fights at a lower level. After that is our rival, who is even easier than last time since they once again didn't feel like using any of their grass moves. Will the grass gym be any harder? Nah, it was pretty easy. We got leech seeded at the start, but it's not like we're a high health Pokemon like Chansey. As soon as Moxie powered us up, we swept him fine. I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty great about this next chunk of the run. Electric Gym, Fairy Gym, Psychic Gym, 2 rival fights. Obviously, the Electric Gym and the Psychic Gym are gonna be easy, and I bet both rival fights will be easy too. I do think the Fairy Gym could be hard for the first time ever though. They resist Dark and are super effective against us, so how that goes is totally up to our ability to sweep them with Earthquake. Honestly, I'm still kind of leaning towards it being a sweep, but I don't want to assume. Still, I'm thinking things will be easy all the way to Lysandre, so let's go get sweeping. So first is the Electric Gym, and although it was pretty easy, I actually lost the first try thanks to Static at the start paralyzing us, letting Magneton two-shot me with Mirror Shot near the end. It's fine though, second try and we won fast. Alright, this rival fight was crazy. Meowstic goes down in one hit, we hardly survive Chestnut with only 3 health, then one-shot Absol. Doesn't Absol have Quick Attack? Why didn't he finish me off with that? Maybe I'm misremembering. Well, the Fairy Gym was a sweep. I should have assumed that though, right? Even when I think it might be hard, it never is. Ever. Now what might be hard is the next rival fight, since I nearly fainted last time. Alright, this one is pretty bad. So I get to the rival fight, and although we can sweep through her first couple of Pokemon just fine, we can't take out Chestnut, so we easily get knocked out. And that's with 2 attack boosts from Moxie and a crit on return. Man, if that's how it's gonna go, then I need some level ups for sure. Maybe in a few levels I could survive a hit and two-shot him or something. Okay, this actually wasn't so bad. 3 levels later and we can survive with a tiny sliver, just enough to get a two-shot, then beat the rest of her team. And of course, the Psychic Gym was really easy. The only damage we took was from Fake Out, so nothing serious. Alright, it's time for things to get a lot more difficult. It's the first Lysandre fight, and although we land a one-shot right away, the Water Onix right after only loses about half its health to return, then one-shots us with Aqua Tail. At least that move can miss though, so I'm sure that we can win this in a few tries. Okay, well literally the next try, an Aqua Tail missed, so Water Onix went down just fine. But Pyroar right after hit a Fire Blast that took us down to a sliver. We one-shot him, as well as the Murkrow right after, but the whole glass part of us being a glass cannon is really starting to become noticeable. Let's hope that the trainers in the area get us to a decent level before the next Lysandre fight. So I get to the next Lysandre fight, and although we had the amazing luck of Aqua Tail missing on the first try, Water Onix wasn't a two-shot, so we got hit on the next round. I mean, even if we took him out, I'm assuming Fire Blast would have just one-shot us this time. I think it's safe to say that I need to candy up a little bit and keep trying. It's not like we're anywhere close to the level we're gonna need to be to win the last Lysandre fight anyway. Alright, so this took 15 tries, and we kept going down to Aqua Tail, but eventually, I had the good idea of just equipping a King's Rock. That gives us a flinch chance on all moves, essentially doubling my chances of getting past Water Onix. It paid off big time, with us flinching him after just a few attempts. Then we easily took out his whole team. I really do think the final Lysandre fight might require we level up quite a bit, though. You know Mega Water Onix is going to be a real problem. Well, first try at the final Lysandre fight, and he just outspeeds us and one-shots us with High Jump Kick. I mean, I can wait for a miss, but considering that I need a flinch or a miss on Water Onix later, and likely a miss on Pyroar as well, I think leveling up a bit for the speed advantage makes sense. Actually, this fight might not be too bad. 3 levels later, and we can outspeed and one-shot our way through his whole team until we get to Water Onix, and he always sends that out last because it's his Mega Evolution Pokemon. It's not a one-shot, though. It's nearly one thanks to just how many times Moxie activates. All I need is one miss or flinch, and this should be an easy win. Alright, it took 11 more tries, and in some of them I thought it was going to be a one-shot on Water Onix, just thanks to the upper end of our damage range being pretty strong, but in the end, it was an Aqua Tail miss on the 11th try that got us the much-needed win. Alright, whatever, I'll take it. It's time for some of the last travel of the game. It's just Sycamore, our friends, the Ice Gym, then a rival left. I think that most of this will be easy, but the last rival fight could be difficult. Actually, what I'm a little bit more worried about is that double battle in Victory Road with the fighting trainers. There's been a few runs where we have to get to an incredibly high level and try tons to win that fight. It doesn't really help that I'm not allowed to use the other Pokemon to help us. Not that they could have with how low their levels are anyway, they're just HM Pokemon. If the fight ends up being anything special, then I'll show it, because I figure it'll end up being harder than the rival fight anyway. I think my initial guess is probably right though, that we can probably get through the Elite Four, but that even at level 100, we might get brickwalled at Hawlucha at the Pokemon Champion. Who knows though? Maybe I'm just worrying too much and it'll be a one-shot with return or something. First is Sycamore, whose entire team was a sweep, no problem there. Then we fight 3 of our friends in a row, and we swept them too. I guess the Aerodactyl at the end could have hurt us if Confusion had caused problems, but it didn't, so we won fine. Well, for the first time in recorded human history, the Ice Gym was a problem. We actually just get one shot on the first round by Ice Beam. I guess I'll get a few levels to make sure we do enough damage, then I'll keep trying until we get a flinch with the King's Rock. So after many failed tries, we get our flinch and sweep to Avalugg, but he survives and hits Avalanche to take us out. Okay, well, I'm not messing around and waiting for a double flinch, especially when I know I'm gonna have to level up more soon anyway. I'm gonna get some more levels so that Avalugg is hopefully a one-shot. So at level 85, I tried a few times and ended up at Avalugg again. I was actually on pace to lose to him again because he just used Curse for some reason, then Hyper Potioned up, and his Ice Body was healing him enough that he might not be a two-shot, but we just hardly took him out. I can't tell if that was lucky or unlucky. What a weird fight. Well, at least the double battle I was worried about ended up being easy. I just hit Earthquake to one-shot both of them at the same time. The fight was actually about 5 times shorter than what happened after, when I had to watch our level 3 Pidgey level up 1,000,000 times. It's always kind of funny when an HM Pokemon ends up getting tons of levels through weird shenanigans, like someone using Roar on us, or in this case, random double battle. Last before the Elite Four was our rival, but she was actually really easy. Moxie is such a run saver, it's unreal. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Well, we had to level up 1,000,000,000 times thanks to a random Alakazam near the end of Victory Road, so our stats are pretty high. I mean, look at that attack, it's incredible. The speed is great too, but we're still really frail. Our defense is a little better than I thought it would be, but I think that's because I used an Iron near the start of the run. I made sure to replace Mud Slap with Hone Claws. I doubt we'll get a chance to use it, but we haven't been needing Mud Slap anyway. Maybe Hone Claws could save us in a fight where Moxie doesn't make us strong enough. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Fire Trainer Malva. We lost on the first try to Flame Body, but on the second try it was an easy sweep outside of taking a bit of damage from Flare Blitz. Second is Steel Trainer Wickstrom. This is a sweep as well, although the Probo Pass at the end took a while thanks to Sturdy. Still, I knew these two would be easy. Drasna might be a little more difficult though. Third is Dragon Trainer Drasna. This one was a bit scary. I used Hone Claws at the start once and tanked Surf, and then swept Till Noivern at the end. Then we took quite a bit of damage from Dragon Pulse before we got the knockout. Maybe that Hone Claws wasn't necessary though, I'm not sure. It's time for the hard Elite Four member though. Fourth is Water Trainer Cybold. Well, that wasn't what I expected. This was the easiest one. No Hone Claws, we just swept with Earthquake. Well, that was way too smooth. Drasna's gonna be a nightmare, I bet. Finally, Pokemon Champion Diantha. Well, Hawlucha threw the fight by using Swords Dance instead of fighting, so we got the one-shot, and then we literally just swept her entire team. And that was with me making the amazingly bad move of using Return, forgetting that Gourgeist, of all things, was a ghost. Didn't matter, we didn't take any damage. Look, I know this is a glass cannon run, and a lot of fights are going to be really fast and anticlimactic. It's kind of the nature of the beast, but it is hilarious how fast that went. This has to be the shortest my script has ever been for the Elite Four and the Pokemon Champion. Like, this is ridiculous. Once again, Sandile was really fun to use. Yeah, a lot of those fights were incredibly simple to recap and not exactly the most creative, but it was still really fun. You should give this one a try. Sandile may look harmless, but it's shockingly good. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday like usual, with something picked by you guys on a Patreon poll. I'm not sure what it is yet. I haven't run the poll yet at the time of writing this. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I'm pretty busy today. I gotta get this edit done real fast. Not only is it a little bit of extra work because I have this sponsorship going on, but also I gotta get to bed early tonight because tomorrow morning is Sabu's big dental surgery where he needs to have the teeth cleaning thing because his gums have gingivitis or whatever. Usually he needs this once a year, which is really brutal, but he didn't need it last year, thankfully. He was a little better about letting me brush his teeth, although really he doesn't let me get at most of them. And the dental food was doing an okay job of keeping them a little bit cleaner, keeping them a little bit better maintenance. And in fact, this is the first year where his teeth themselves are not the issue, it's just his gums. But, you know, it's pretty all hands on deck on giving him his pill the night before, and then he can't eat overnight, and then he can't drink anything in the morning, and he needs to have another pill, and then I take him in, and I mean, it's a surgery, because it's cat dental work. I just got the consent form for the surgery, and printed that off the other day. $1,186. Oh, and that's if I don't put on all of the extra little features and things like the nail trim, which I don't need him to get a nail trim. I can handle that myself. And what the pre-ECG thing, I already did the blood work. I'm sure he's gonna be fine. The ECG's never picked up anything. In the past, I would give him the extra little things because I just, want to make it the best for him. I cannot afford that, are you kidding me? 1,186 Canadian? I swear it didn't used to be this expensive, but Canada, man. Which is why it's a really good thing that I have this sponsorship, because it helps me do things like take care of the boys. You know what else helps me take care of the boys? All those $50 supporters that I should be shouting out right now. Such as Jacob Busby, Javid Kusaro, Grayson Fitz, Tara Louise, Lysandre Hedgeblog, Joel Mann, Dark Soul, Young Smoky VP, Cal Anderson, and Crystal Sunrise. Thank you so much for the continued support. Exciting news, by the way. After months of saying, man, I would really like to stream more, have finally been streaming more. In the last, week, I've streamed RimWorld 3 times. There's a new DLC for it, which is very exciting. The Odyssey DLC just came out a couple months back, something like that, and I'm finally getting around to playing it now. Been having a really fun time. We're in a jungle this time instead of a boreal forest like last time. I've been live streaming it on this main YouTube channel that you're watching right now. I'll probably do some of the streams on my Twitch. Link in the description, of course. But I've been uploading the recordings of it over on my new YouTube streaming channel thing, Mah-Dry-Bread Streams. You can search that in the search bar. Maybe I'll remember to put it in the description, and maybe I won't, but you should go subscribe over there. And plus, I think there's not even ads over there because the channel's so small it's not even, monetized yet or anything. So I don't qualify for any of that stuff yet. It's a really small, really new channel. But if you build up some watch hours on there, then I could monetize it. But savor that you can watch it ad-free for, actually, okay, hold on, I shouldn't promise that you can watch it ad-free, because I think on modern YouTube, if a channel's not monetized, YouTube might run ads on it anyway, so that YouTube just gets 100% of the money. I mean, if so, that's really annoying, but that's inevitable. I do need to get the channel past the point where it becomes monetizable at some point. Anyway, the streams have been really fun. I've been also using it for fundraising to help, afford stuff like Sabu's dental work, and how I just had to fix my computer recently after the liquid cooler died and shot liquid into the computer, which thankfully at least it fired it into the radiator. It would have been way more expensive if it fired into the computer and broke more things, although it was really overdue for some upgrades, so that's why it was so expensive. Thankfully, my computer broke and I did all the upgrades right as the RAM prices were starting to get expensive, and so the RAM kit I got hadn't risen in price yet, but most of the other ones did. So I got in the week before every last RAM kit was made $1 billion here in Canada. So, oh my god, that was so close. I needed a new motherboard, RAM, and CPU, and I got another drive, so it was 1,600 Canadian dollars. It was pretty brutal, but man, if my computer lasted 3 weeks longer, and I had to get the new RAM and everything just a little while later, it would have been $2,000 or more. It would have been insane. But at least the computer has worked completely properly since then. I haven't had any of the weird issues I used to always get. Everything's working. It's not underclocking constantly. The temperature is the lowest it has ever been, even though I'm using an air cooler that is much cheaper than my old liquid cooler. I'm never doing liquid cooling again, I swear. Just get a good air cooler. They do an awesome job. Alright, that's enough rambling from me. I do need to get this video edited, and I'm in quite the time crunch today, and I haven't eaten yet, and I've just been banking on the fact that you hopefully can't hear my stomach growling. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.